Ladies and gentlemen, we always try because we don't want to give our governments a bad image or a bad reputation in Africa, right? But at the same time, we have to speak up on these issues. As bad as things are in Sierra Leone right now with the hunger and everything, and the unemployment rate is so high. Yes, we're not blaming the current government in power, because these problems have been, borrowed over from past administrations due to corruption and everything, But however, though, now it's just this strong man, mentality that is going on in the country, where the civil rights of the citizenry have, flagrantly violated, by top officials in the government. Unfortunately, it may be of knowledge to the president of the country, President Julius Maada, or it might not be. Because a lot of times, the thing with Africans, the moment they have a little bit of power, they always think that they could just misuse and abuse it anyhow. And what we've seen is that the people's rights have been violated in so many instances. I've been giving out, a couple of instances, from a small boy that was, mercilessly mutilated and beaten up, left for dead by a member of the current ruling government, who was contesting for parliamentary seats in constituency 110. Josephine Jackson is her name. From that to other journalists that have been killed, like in 2018, the case of Ibrahim Samura, who was another journalist that was manhandled and later died from his injuries. And now today, as I'm speaking to you, today is the 13th of November, we do have a case of a journalist who was just doing his job, finding out information because he heard that the so-called chief minister, and by the way, it's only in Sierra Leone that we have a chief minister. Stupid position, we don't even know what it's there for. They might as well just call it a prime minister. But they have a chief minister, and who allegedly some funds totaling about $1.5 million was transferred to his bank account. And he banks with, I wouldn't call it a bank, but he banks with a bank where there was a transfer of about $1.5 million. So the journalist just wanted to find out and called the office of the so-called chief minister to find out about this deposit and what it's for, and why was it deposited into his personal bank account. Immediately the journalist called the chief minister's office. He was arrested. He was arrested just for finding out, trying to find out what is the role of the journalist. Investigative journalism. Reporting to the people what the people should know. You are a government official, and everything you do, both private and professionally, is being scrutinized by everybody. And the journalists, it is their job for them to call it out. So I'm calling on the international community on this one. I'm calling on journalists' organizations. Organizations that are there for the protection of journalists all over the world. Of course, we know that the rights of journalists in Africa, they don't care about them. They just at will, just dismiss these journalists in Africa. They have no respect for them. Of course, most of the journalists are being bought by these politicians. They only report the stories that they want them to report on. And the few journalists that have wit, that have, that self-conviction of, knowing that I'm not going to be involved in any form of corruption, that want to do right by the people and just report objectively, are being strong-armed and jailed by the government of Sierra Leone. So hopefully when the president of Sierra Leone hears this, because maybe he hasn't found out about this, maybe he hasn't found out, maybe he doesn't know about it, but hopefully when he hears this video, it might take action to ensure that the journalist Saliu Tijanjalo is released effective immediately. The rights of the journalist should be reinstated. And this chief minister should be prosecuted, because a lot of times it's this impunity that these government officials have. They just go and take actions by themselves and there are no repercussions for it. Until, like now, this administration is actually prosecuting individuals that caused the death of a journalist back in 2018 from the previous administration. So justice is very slow for journalists in Sierra Leone. But hopefully when the president sees this video, journalist Saidu Tijanjalo will be released effective immediately. This is pathetic. And we have to stand up for something. We should not let this go by. This gangsterism by these government officials in Sierra Leone should stop. Because this is gangsterism. You know, like you're some demagogues or you're some dictators. It should stop. We are asking that the journalist Saidu Tijanjal is released effective immediately. All he was doing his job to find out about a $1.5 million that was transferred to the chief minister's account. And it's his right, it's the right of the people of Sierra Leone to know exactly what is going on. I'm going to leave this message right here, guys. But this is a travesty for Africa, and we should stand up and do a better job and protect our journalists in Africa. That is why Africa is corrupt the way it is, and that is why Africans are suffering, because nobody wants to be accountable. I'll leave it right here, guys.